Hey there, it's Shauna. Welcome to your weekly astrology forecast for the week of August 12th. This week, confidence is key. This week we have an aspect involving the Sun and Venus coming together in the sign of Leo. We also have a full moon in the sign of Aquarius that's happening on Thursday. And then also we will have Mercury square Uranus. So lots of transits that invoke feelings of confidence and assuredness. So I'm really excited to share the astrology of this week with you. Before we jump into the transits, though, I want to share with you a lunar report for this week. So the lunar report sets the emotional tone for the week. So we start the week with the moon in the sign of Capricorn. And then Tuesday through Thursday, the moon moves into the sign of Aquarius because we're having our full moon in Aquarius. So Monday, number one, the moon being in Capricorn on Monday, there is a more serious tone when the moon is in that sign. And it's the sign right before the full moon. So there's this feeling of urgency at this point in time, or there can be this feeling of urgency. And people that are born at this point in the lunar cycle tend to have feelings where they want to do more. They want to accomplish more and learn more and gain more knowledge. There is a sense of urgency to move forward. So this being in the sign of Capricorn also, which is an emphasis on accomplishment and really making a name for yourself, that may be feelings that come up on Monday. So if you're feeling like there's so much to do and you can't get it all done in one day, that's okay. Don't worry about it. This is normal to feel that way. And you don't need to get too stressed out about it because there's going to be lots of opportunities for you to do the things that you need to do this week. Tuesday, of course, the moon will be in the sign of Aquarius. So it moves into Aquarius Tuesday at 8:35 a.m. Pacific time. And then I'll talk more about the full moon in a moment, but the moon just being in the sign of Aquarius. Aquarius is also ruled by Saturn in the traditional astrology system. And so there is also a tone of more like I need to like get shit done and I want to be more practical. Things tend to be more purpose driven during the time when the moon is in signs that are ruled by Saturn, which is Capricorn and Aquarius. So you may feel still more like I need to get down to business Tuesday through Thursday. And then Thursday night, the moon moves into the sign of Pisces, which I think will feel, as it often does, kind of like a sigh of relief, but especially because we're moving from that full moon apex to the waning cycle of the lunar, to the lunar cycle. So Thursday night, 8:49 p.m. Pacific time is when the moon moves into the sign of Pisces. And the moon will be in Pisces until Sunday morning. So I would say Friday, Saturday, great days to just chill out, enjoy yourself, have some fun. That definitely goes in line with the Sun-Venus energy, which we'll talk about more in a moment. And then Sunday at 9:33 a.m. Pacific time, the sun moves into Aries. And I'm going to type up a little breakdown of all this in the comment section, so hopefully that's helpful for you as well. And so Sunday, moon in Aries, there's Aries is about initiation, action. There is a desire to meet challenges. So that might be something that you want to look at on Sunday, doing something that gets you excited. Anything active is always really beneficial. And I think just kind of like shaking off any stress that happened throughout the week can also be really helpful on Sunday. So that is your lunar report for this week. I'm going to take a sip of tea and then we'll get into the transits. All right. So the first thing that's happening this week is the sun will conjunct Venus. This is happening at 21 degrees of Leo. And so the sun is your ego, conscious awareness. It is the I am. It's spiritual energy, but it is in the sense that it's that energy, like it's your personality. It's what it is that animates you, but it is personal to you. So the sun in your chart tells us about who you are as an individual, and what wants to be expressed via spirit through you into the world. Venus is about relationships, love, beauty, aesthetics, values, money. These two coming together, there is a theme around attraction, allure, could also be overindulgence as well. But it's generally a really beautiful symbol of enjoyment and being very well received by people, socializing with people, connecting with people who appreciate you. Especially, so that's just this combo like alone. But then the fact that it is in the sign of Leo really complements all of these qualities, because Leo, the sign, is about adoration. It's about appreciation. Leo is a very creative sign. It is about sharing something from the heart and then being seen and being appreciated as an individual for sharing your individual gifts. So these two combinations work really well together. That doesn't always happen in the astrology. Sometimes we have an aspect between two planets and then the sign doesn't really correspond and they all kind of, mash together and create an interesting mix. So the other piece of this is that to pay attention to is that this is happening in the sign Leo that's ruled by the sun. Leo is ruled by the sun. And so what this means is that the sun energy, these sun symbols, may be more present. And so I would look at that and I would maybe meditate on that, on how you want to express sun energy in your life this week, especially if you are wanting to be more social, make more connections, and if there is something that you're doing where you need support of other people, or you need or want assistance from other people in your life at this point in time, this can be a very, very beneficial transit for that. So that I'm going to jump back to that in a second. So I want to move on to the full moon, and then we'll come back to the sun and Venus, because it does tie into, in a weird way, to Mercury square Uranus. So the full moon is happening at 23 degrees of Aquarius. It's Thursday, August 15th at 5:29 a.m. Pacific time. And so full moon is the maximum point of fullness of illumination within the lunar cycle. So this means maximum potential. It's about celebration. Full moon is not about releasing things. I don't know why that is very popular. In traditional astrology, it has always been, and even in electional astrology now, like choosing auspicious times to do things, full moon is really about celebration and culmination. So the other piece of this is that this is in the sign of Aquarius, and so Aquarius is ruled by Saturn. So, I'm wondering, there may be more of kind of like a really getting down to business and to what it is that you want to do, what it is that you want to build. And because this full moon is happening opposite Venus, because the sun and Venus are together in Leo, right? So they're opposite one another. Who do you need or want to be with you on this journey of whatever it is that you're creating? Aquarius does tend to have a more humanitarian kind of vibe to it, whereas Capricorn and Aquarius are both ruled by Saturn. Capricorn is more about personal success and accomplishment, and what it is that you are building for yourself or for your family, for your more immediate tribe. There's more of this sense of doing something for a personal satisfaction and building confidence around that, and which is beautiful and important. And then Aquarius, also ruled by Saturn, is more about your legacy, what it is that you're leaving people with, what it is that you are changing within the system to create something that is unique, something that is different. But it's still very much focused on structure and like bringing something into manifestation. So of course the ruler of this full moon is Saturn. And what's interesting is, so when a full moon is in Aquarius, it's always going to be in the detriment of the sun. That's just the way that it works, because the sun is in detriment in Aquarius. It's not strong there. So it's really interesting because we have this full moon in Aquarius opposite the sun, but the sun is strong in the sign of Leo. So it'll be really interesting to see what happens here. I think that because the moon is in the sign ruled by Saturn, and because the sun is in the sign of its strength, I think that there is this vibe around feeling really strong and confident, or things coming up to make you aware of where something in your life is not stable, or where there are insecurities or vulnerabilities. And not that you necessarily need to, fix that or address all of that at this point in time, all this week. But if there are any things that are creating leaks in your sailboat, so to speak, those things may come up this week. You may just become more aware of those things. So that leads me to the third transit that I want to talk about. So we have Mercury square Uranus. So Mercury is about your thought process, communication. It's about messages. Mercury can also symbolize people who are younger than you, or youth in general, children. And so Uranus is about rapid, not even like instantaneous change. It's about something totally unexpected coming in. And, these things can be pleasant or they cannot be so pleasant. Robert Hand says that when a person has a Uranus transit, that if that person has been resisting change already for a very, very long time, something that, they tend to experience that change as unpleasant, because there's so much energy that's been pent up, so to speak, so that when this transit happens, there's more change to be had. There's more that is up for review, to be shifted and transitioned. So this transit, though, is more about the mind, because it's Mercury. Mind, information, messages. It could also be especially if you work in information, which a lot of us do, it could be that you change the way that you communicate, or you change your system in some way, either interpersonally or just like the process that you use for, getting emails out or letters out or mailing lists and things like that. That may be up for a little bit of a shift. And what's really interesting is that, I forgot to mention, this is happening at 7 degrees of Leo and Taurus. Mercury in Leo, 7 degrees Leo, and then Uranus in Taurus. Of course, it's going to be there for a while. Mercury is in the sign Leo that's ruled by the sun. So it goes back to this Sun-Venus that we talked about earlier. And so there's this really interesting connection here where this shift in perspective, this new information, all of this is Mercury-Uranus, something new coming in for you that is a new idea or a new thought process. It goes back to the Sun-Venus. It goes back to how you are in relationships and who it is that you're attracting, and who it is that you're attracted to, and not just romantically, but what you find like fun and interesting and intriguing and alluring. So there's something really here about connecting with other people and shining your own personal pizzazz, your own personal sense of self, and connecting with people who resonate with that. So that's a big theme this week. All right, so I have 3 tips for you. Tip number 1 is please do socialize this week. Even if you are a little bit shy and, or maybe, I don't know, maybe you're not shy and you socialize all the time, take advantage of that even more this week. There is so much potential this week because it's a full moon, which is definitely about being out in the world. And then the sun, Venus, and then Mercury, Uranus could also simply be like, someone saying something and it shoots off a light bulb in your head and you're like, oh my God, why didn't I think of that before? That can happen when we have Mercury, Uranus. So definitely socialize this week, even if it's just like one little outing. Tip number 2 is to actually watch out for overindulgence, especially watch out for overspending. One thing that I didn't mention with the Sun Venus is that it can symbolize where you overdo it in your enjoyment. So that could be, eating too much, drinking too much, staying up too late. It could be any of those things, and not that any of those things are inherently bad, but it's what works for you and what makes you feel the most vibrant. So this leads me to tip number 3, which is to focus on fulfillment. And I think this is important because when we have Venus involved in any transit, Venus is about pleasure, it's about enjoyment. And I think that sometimes we get pleasure and fulfillment mixed up, not on purpose, of course, but you think, oh, I would be really happy if I had this or if I did this. And sometimes it feels nice, but it doesn't always bring a sense of satisfaction. It doesn't bring fulfillment. It doesn't fill you up in a way that is satisfying. So you could even do a little meditation on that tonight or this week on what kinds of things really bring you that soul satisfaction. All right, so it's tarot time. I'm going to pull some cards for you. Have a sip of my tea. So as I'm shuffling these, please relax. And you can even close your eyes if you want. And so it's helpful to get into a relaxed state. Relax your body, relax your breathing so that it's slow and natural. And if there's something specific that you want clarity on, you can hold that in your attention, hold that in your awareness very softly. Hold it in your heart. And I'm going to pick 3 cards, so these can be a full set for you if you wish, but if you want to keep it short and to the point, you can pick a number between 1 and 3, and that card will be yours. So you can pick that now. 1, 2. Oh, damn, these are good cards. All right. All right. Or they're, pleasant, I suppose is appropriate. All right. So I will show you one at a time and then we'll talk about them one by one and then all together. So card number 1 is the King of Swords, which is a very beautiful card. I always love like the little butterfly symbols on here. And the 2 of Wands. And then the 10 of Pentacles. So first, just all together, I know I said I do one at a time, but first all together. So these are all fairly masculine cards, which I think is really interesting. So authority, masculine, more seeking kind of masculine, and then 10 of Pentacles is very much about accomplishment and wealth and success and having like a full community familial support. So I think that's really interesting. It's just my first, that's what jumps out at me. So first card, King of Swords. This card is about, kings are always about authority. Sword is about thoughts, your the story that you tell yourself. It's about your like even ego to a certain extent, your awareness and ideas, communication. When this card comes up, it is a sign that you have something to share, that you have something to offer people, and it's around your intellect and your ideas and what it is that you say. And I pulled all of these upright. So this is a strong sign around communicating, around having a sense of pride in what it is that you think. And to know also that that people are looking at you as well, or people are looking to you for knowledge, people respect you. And to remember that. That's very important. And I do always love like the butterflies on his little throne there. To me, that's a sign of transformation and beauty and like things blooming into their full potential. So definitely a sign around having a sense of authority, autonomy, and respect for yourself, that you are important and your ideas are important. The second card is the 2 of Wands. So this card is about travel. It's about looking at the bigger picture of things. So if this was your individual card, you may be like revisiting your life, your like life plan, where you're going, who you want to be. But more like where it is that you're going in the world. Who are you in the world? And there may be like a little change around what it is that you want to do. There may be some revisioning. And so I would definitely like play with that. Do a little meditation on that. Or if maybe there's things like that that are coming up for you. I would relate this to the Mercury Uranus energy, because it is like looking at the big picture. There is kind of like a seeking kind of vibe to it. And then the 10 of Pentacles is the third card. So this card is really beautiful. It's very much about accomplishment. The scene in the Rider-Waite deck is this family there, and it's like multi-generational. The Pentacles are about worldly things, money, job, your career. And then 10 is like the culmination of the thing. So this is, especially because I pulled this as the third card, this is saying whatever it is that you're like, whatever it is that you're thinking about or thinking about moving towards, if there's something new that you're thinking about pursuing, I would take it as an encouragement that that is going to bring you fulfillment and satisfaction. Like, this card is totally about fulfillment and satisfaction in this life, in the material world, and not like in a not in a greedy or selfish way. It's like the more that you have, the more that you have to share with others, the more that you have to share with your community, and the more that your community supports you in turn. So it's a very, so all of these are very much like, okay, what is it that's important to you? What are you thinking about? And where do you want to go? And you're supported in that this week. So definitely some good stuff to meditate on you. I'm curious what resonates with you in the tarot cards. Leave me a comment and let me know. So that is your horoscope for the week. I hope that you enjoyed this, and I hope that you like getting into the rulerships in a little bit more detail in the moon report. I hope that you find it helpful and interesting. And you can stay connected with me through Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube under Neo-Feminine Astrology. I am super excited to offer some more availability for people that want to work with me one-on-one. So I do readings, coaching, and counseling. So I'm doing those during the week now as well. I know a lot of you are not available on Sunday. So I have more information on that on my website, neofeminineastrology.com. Until next week, I am wishing you a wonderful week. Namaste.